Just in the past week, he has twice stated that the reason for our inflation is high military spending.
Ukrainian forces struck at the Russian Khalyno military airfield in the Kursk region and destroyed an aviation weapons storage facility. Analysts from the Cyber-Boroshno OSINT group released a satellite image showing a damaged building on the airfield after the attack. As a result of the strike on the Khalyno airfield, the aviation munitions storage complex was hit, the researchers stated. In addition, the debris from the explosion probably damaged the Pantsir-S anti-aircraft missile and gun system, which was located near the site of the hit. Khalyno airfield is located 7 kilometers east of the city of Kursk. The 14th Fighter Aviation Regiment of the 105th Mixed Aviation Division, part of the Russian Aerospace Forces, is based there. This is not the first attack by Ukrainian forces on this facility. In 2023, the airfield was already attacked by kamikaze drones. The destruction of ammunition depots at Khalyno will reduce the enemy aircraft's activity in this area. A fire broke out at a Russian gunpowder factory in the city of Kotovsk-Tambov region, according to reports from Astra and regional authorities. The Russian Investigative Committee stated that one of the workshops at the facility caught fire on the morning of July 3rd, though they did not name the enterprise. However, local media and social media users report that the incident took place specifically at the gunpowder plant. Tragically, 3 workers lost their lives, and several others were hospitalized as a result of the blaze. The preliminary cause of the fire is believed to be a violation of technological processes. Firefighters who arrived at the scene were able to contain the blaze. The investigative committee has opened a criminal case under the article related to industrial safety violations that resulted in the deaths of 2 or more people. The plant in Kotovsk is one of the largest gunpowder producers in Russia and specializes in the production of smokeless powders based on nitrocellulose, as well as related products for both military and civilian use. Ukrainian drones targeted this key facility of the military-industrial complex of the Russian Federation on the night of June 11th. As a result, a fire broke out on the factory grounds, which was captured on video by local residents. The Tambov powder plant is part of the state-owned corporation Rostec. It produces over 200 types of products, including pyroxylin-based powders for small arms, hand grenades, grenade launcher rounds, as well as artillery and mortar ammunition. The facility is located approximately 360 kilometers from the Ukrainian state border. The Security Service of Ukraine detained a recruited agent of the Russian Special Services in the Air Force who was gathering information about Ukrainian military aviation. The SSU press service published details of the detention. In cooperation with the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, military counterintelligence detained a major of the Air Force in the Lviv region, who turned out to be a Russian agent. The Russian invaders recruited him through his former wife, an ex-military officer who works for the aggressor in Melitopol. Alexander Bolodidov, a career officer in the Alpha Group of the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation, coordinated the subversive activities of the Mole. The agent's primary mission was to collect intelligence on Ukrainian military aviation. Specifically, the enemy aimed to obtain the locations of operational airfields, logistics hubs, and maintenance centers for the Ukrainian Armed Forces combat aircraft. Thanks to timely efforts by SSU officers, the Mole was uncovered. His contacts with Russian intelligence were documented, and he was apprehended. He is currently in custody and faces life imprisonment with confiscation of property. Additionally, his ex-wife, who remains in the temporarily occupied southern region of Ukraine, has been charged in absentia with state treason under martial law. In addition to recruiting military personnel, the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation also actively recruits civilians to gather intelligence on Air Force facilities. For example, earlier this year, military counterintelligence neutralized an agent group composed of Ukrainian citizens who were targeting the combat aviation of the armed forces of Ukraine. As a result of the special operation, 2 individuals were caught red-handed near one of Ukraine's military airfields, photographing the takeoff of a Ukrainian F-16. Besides scouting locations of military equipment bases, they were installing surveillance cameras to monitor the activity of Ukrainian aviation. The FSS handler also demanded reports in text format with photos detailing the types of equipment spotted at each site. Russian special services are also attempting to infiltrate other branches of the defense forces that pose a serious threat to the Russian occupying army. Notably, recently, counterintelligence detained an agent who was preparing an enemy strike against Ukraine's Neptune anti-ship missile systems. The recruited 33-year-old serviceman of the Ukrainian Navy, who served in a security unit protecting the launchers of cruise missiles, was supposed to relay the coordinates of their positions to his handlers in Russia. If the relevant coordinates were obtained, the enemy planned to execute a combined strike using kamikaze drones and cruise missiles against the Ukrainian system that controls the coastal waters of the Black Sea with firepower. Russia's Shadow Fleet is estimated at 900 vessels, of which around 10 are monitored daily in the English Channel, French Admiral Benoit de Guibert said. These tankers transport oil in circumvention of international sanctions, not only in the interests of Russia, but also in the interests of its closest allies, Iran and North Korea, he said during hearings in the National Defense and Armed Forces Committee.
Au titre de mes responsabilités de préfet maritime, je suis aussi les enjeux russes à travers le sujet de la flotte fantôme, ce phénomène qui consiste pour un État à avoir recours de manière opaque et en recherchant une moindre traçabilité à des navires d'États tiers afin de poursuivre des exportations ou importations en contournant les sanctions internationales. Ce phénomène tire profit des libéralités du droit maritime international, ainsi que de la relative opacité du transport maritime et des opérations de soudage. Il ne concerne d'ailleurs pas que les intérêts russes, mais également ceux d'autres pays comme l'Iran ou la Corée du Nord. Pour la France, ces navires présentent un risque en termes de sécurité maritime. Il s'agit essentiellement de tankers de moyenne capacité, souvent de construction ancienne, récemment acquis par des opérateurs peu identifiables et ne respectant pas souvent les standards minimums de sécurité. Nous avons également des doutes sur la solidité de la police d'assurance. Face à cet enjeu, l'action de l'État est d'abord une surveillance particulièrement attentive de cette flotte, dont on estime qu'elle pourrait se composer d'environ 900 navires, parmi lesquels une dizaine est suivie quotidiennement en Manche. Je ne rentrerai pas ici dans les détails, mais sachez que des réflexions sont en cours pour identifier des modes d'action pour lutter contre ce phénomène. L'interception de ces navires n'est évidemment pas sans risque et nécessite anticipation et discernement.
Andrei Kostin, chairman of the board of Russian VTB Bank, explained that the issues in Russian economy are caused by military spending and sanctions. Over the past week, he, Putin, has twice stated that high defense spending is the cause of inflation in our country.
We are always somewhat timid when talking about the causes of the economic problems we have. The president helps us well. Just in the past week, he has twice stated that the reason for our inflation is high military spending.
And I generally suggest always evaluating the current situation based on the unique situation in which the country finds itself, yes?
These are large military expenditures which, besides being generally large and a part of government spending that stimulates the development of certain sectors of the economy, do not produce goods that later enter the market. Yes, these products go somewhere else and therefore the supply does not increase in the market while the expenses grow. And the second reason, of course, which cannot be ignored when we talk about our modern life is, of course, the enormous number of sanctions. The president also mentioned around 28,000, which make many processes more expensive and more complicated.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.